In this lesson, we are going to learn about numeric data types. Numeric data types are used when you have to do some mathematical calculations. Visual Basic offers a wide range of numeric data types. We have seen some of them in our earlier videos. And in this video, we are going to go a little deep into these numeric data types. First of all, there are some aspects that you have to consider when you choose a data type for your variable. First is whether your variable is signed or unsigned. This means if the data type is unsigned, it can only handle the positive value. So as you see, byte is an unsigned variable, so it can only handle from 0 through 255. In the same way, we have this U integer, which also is unsigned, so it handles the values from 0 through this large number. And if the data type is unsigned, you cannot process any negative values. On the other hand, if the data type is signed, you can also handle the negative as well as positive values, such as integer, which handles from this negative large value through this positive large value, which is signed. So this is a good consideration if you know that your variable is not going to have any negative value. Only then and then you use an unsigned data type. Second consideration is whether the value will be integral or fractional. That means if you know in advance that your variable will only be an integral value such as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 100, 10,000, then and then only use integral values or integral data types such as byte, integer, sort and other. But if your value is fractional, let's say 10.2 or 5.5, then these integral data types cannot handle these values. For them, you have to use floating point data types such as decimal, double or single. Having said that, let's go ahead and see them in action. We are into chapter 4, Numerics project, and here let's go ahead and declare a variable. I'll name it myInt, and I'm going to declare this as integer because integer will be the most common numeric data type that you will see, and I'm assigning its value to 100. And let's call our output subroutine by passing myInt. So when I start and click run, it's 100. It is that easy, and we have already seen this in our previous tutorials. Now let's try something that we have just learned. Let's declare a variable, and we are going to call this myByte as byte, and its value will be 255. So I'm going to output and run it. When I click on run, it successfully shows us both the values. Let's test what happens if I try to exceed the range. So here, when I do this, I get this little blue underline, and when I hover over there, it says constant expression not representable in byte. That means I cannot assign a value which is higher than the range. This is okay. Let me assign it to 255. So now I have assigned it 255, and then I have increased its value by 1, doing this mathematical operation. Now go ahead and start and click on run. It will stop the program and I am getting this error message. It says an unhandled exception, and which is a system.overflow exception. I'll click on break and it takes me to the line where the value is exceeding. So this means if you try to exceed the range, you'll get an error. Now let's go ahead and try to give it a negative value. But for that, first we have to stop the program. We are back here and now let's try to give it a negative value. As I do that, I get that blue underline one more time, and that says constant expression is not representable in byte. That means I cannot represent a negative value in byte because byte cannot handle any negative value. It is an unsigned data type.